Hello and welcome back once again to Belmont Bunch. I didn't shave this week. I didn't have time. And by that, I mean I had time and I didn't use it well. I'm back here once again, joined by our special guest, James, who's not actually a special guest. He's been on every episode. So, James, that is the mediocre intro I was talking about. And now it's your turn to speak.
You did not disappoint. Roll the intro. Thank you, Tom, for not disappointing on that mediocre intro. Now,
I know how to market myself.
That's true. That is true. Yeah, you definitely don't disappoint. Let us know down in the comments if Tom disappoints for the non-existing expectations. So, we're going to talk about the 4 Islanders games that happened this past week, right? It was 3. Believe it or not, there was 3 Buffalo Sabres games. And there was one Boston game. Yes, I almost forgot. It was yesterday. So Tom, why don't you give us like a quick rundown of those previous games, and we can talk about it.
Sure. I am going to, in the interest of time, which is something that I should always do, gonna kind of lop 2 of the Buffalo games together. So they all finished by the same score. The Islanders dispatch 3 straight 5-2 wins over the Buffalo Sabres, who have been struggling mightily, and they have the eye of the league on them right now because it's gotten to that point when you are bound to miss the playoffs for the 10th straight year. People stop feeling bad for the team. They will feel bad for the fans, but they will stop feeling bad for the team because at that point, that's just gross ineptitude. In a league that allows half its teams to make the playoffs, for you to miss it 10 straight years is very pathetic. Now, the fans, it's almost the opposite, where the fans, like, that makes me respect them even more. And also, I'm a New York Jets fan, so I know how they feel. So it sucks. So what is to talk about the games? The Sabres really...
Remember when you said, let's talk about the games? I'll be...
Yeah. So... The Buffalo Sabres in the first 2 games.
I'm sorry to interrupt one more time. I have to say this in the Boston recap video that you made, right at the end. You were talking about your awesome new jersey, the reverse retro jersey, which I think we're both kind of surprised that we both like it, even though it looks kind of plain. And at the end, towards like the last 2 minutes of that video, you were like, you know what? I don't care if this video is a little bit longer. I'm gonna talk about the reverse retro. Like, I felt like you were talking directly to me because I always tell you to try and shorten. So
I was talking to my own rhythmic.
Yeah. You
circadian clock.
Doesn't make sense, but sure.
Not the correct use of that.
Yeah. Let's
Either
go.
Way,
anyway, so sorry to interrupt. So let's talk about the Buffalo games.
So the first 2 Buffalo games, I would say generally just a complete annihilation of Buffalo. The shots in the first game were 45-18 Islanders. The Islanders, even when they're playing their best hockey, are not a team that should be, out shooting you that badly. We're not a team that just throws pucks on net. Although actually that's been getting a little bit better and creating more scoring chances. The offensive numbers for the Islanders, we're getting close to 3 goals a game, and that's almost solely off of this series. So I tip my cap to you, Buffalo. I think I said going into the series, I wanted 2 wins because it's hard ever to say when you play a team 3 times in a row, even a bad team in hockey, you anticipate that pushback because every team in this league has, a lot of respect for themselves, and they think that they can go out and win any night. And they're right. Like, any team in this league can win on any given night. Last night, Detroit almost beat Tampa. So crazy things happen in this league, and Buffalo didn't even show a modicum of interest in the first 2 games. The Isles were up 2-0. Taylor Hall got one back in the first game. And then basically the Islanders were able to see it out from there. Got it up to 4-1. They give up a second, like halfway through the third, but it didn't even feel like, you just felt secure as an Islander fan that with a 4-1 lead that the game was over. Like, and even when Buffalo scored to make it 4-2, you were like, this game's probably over. And the Islanders got one not long after that from Martin. This is the game where Martin scored twice. I think really emblematic of how bad Buffalo's been is Matt Martin's second goal, where he's allowed to just go drive to the net unabated against Rasmus Dahlin, former first overall pick, a guy who was anticipated to maybe be one of the best defensive prospects in decades. And the Sabres are finding a way to like snuff all the life out of, a team that on paper is not terrible. And it's funny because I feel like this is turning into a Buffalo Sabres podcast at the moment, but that's what's happened over these 3 games. I think I learned more about the Sabres than I learned about the Islanders. The Islanders, I would say generally I learned they're a very business-like team. They don't show a lot of mercy. They will step on you 3 times in a row, and you need to show some sort of pushback. And in that first game, there just wasn't. In the second game, there was a little bit, not as bad as 45-18 in the shots. Let me see if I can pull up the shots in that game. Actually, it was.
I'm pulling up the stats on the side as you. Well,
so the shot,
kind of some of the stats.
29-22. Not terrible. But the Islanders in this game, so they were down 1-0 after 1, and they didn't look very good. And the goal was a little bit of a weird one. Are you hearing Facebook notifications through?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, good, because I'm hearing them.
Great. Now everybody knows that there's Facebook notifications in the background. Yeah. But no, I think you're good.
But so that game started off with something the Islanders love to do, which is give up first career goals to players on opposite teams. So you got to give.
Wait, it was to Jacob Bryson.
Yes. Mr. Bryson, who I think I had a stroke and couldn't pronounce his name right in the recap, even though it's not that hard a name. I get like difficult names right, and then I get that. I don't know. But so he scores just a seeing eye puck where Varley maybe didn't do a good enough job of getting around a screen early in a game. And so it's 1-0 Buffalo. And Buffalo actually played a pretty good first period. But the Islanders, the dam broke in the second period. Barzal had that goal, and everyone knows the goal I'm talking about. That just emblematic of how good a player he's been this year, and just like growth as well in that was not just like a speed play and a skill play, which we know both of those things are things he has, but a little bit of a strength play to keep a very big defenseman in Rasmus Ristolainen, the other Rasmus, off of him and shake him off. Ristolainen goes crashing into the boards, and then Barzal pulls off that trickery through the legs. And it felt like that. It almost feels like, and people were joking about this on Twitter, but that Barzal like just broke them. He just broke the team, because from that point on, it was all Islanders. Nelson gets one like a little over a minute afterwards, and it's one of those, a defensive breakdown that allowed him to just rip one from the middle of the slot. And you let Brock Nelson get hot now, because I've been saying on this podcast, you let him get that wrist shot going and he's going to get the confidence going. And now he's got 10 goals. And in the blink of an eye, like all the issues with him are gone.
Yeah.
That second line is working really well. And Beauvillier is the one that fed him that puck. So that line is getting going. That was 2-1 Islanders from there. Cal Clutterbuck with a big goal as well, off of a nice little tic-tac-toe play that might have been on purpose, might have not been.
Yeah.
Pellich
That's how Martin. I feel about most of the really good plays for the Islanders. I'm like, I don't know if that was like intentional or just worked out that great.
That's the beauty of hockey sometimes. You can pretend that it was all part of the plan.
All part of the plan.
And so this one was Adam Pellich threw it cross ice. I think Matt Martin was trying to one-time it, and he scuffed it, but it went right to Cal Clutterbuck. And the goalie, I think it was Hutton in this game, had slid over to his left already to face the shot of Martin, and it's already back on his right. So it's an empty net goal for Clutterbuck. And that made it 3-1. And then Scott Mayfield scores a few minutes later on a 2-on-1 created by a great forecheck from Pajot and Cizikas. So this just got, and by the way, Dow Cole was in on that forecheck as well. This game just got out of hand real quick. So the Islanders scored 3 in 5 minutes, and then another one 7 minutes after. And so a 4-goal second period. And I believe this is the game Sorokin. No, sorry. This is still Varley. Sorokin played the first game, played well. We'll talk about the second game where he didn't play quite as well, but we still got the win. Varley played fine in this game. It was more about the offense from the Islanders. Sam Reinhart scores on a nice batted puck out of the air early in the third to keep it somewhat of a game, but Anders Lee would get one only a couple minutes later, and that just saw it out for the Islanders. And Anders Lee is just on
top
fire.
Scorer.
Yep.
For the
12
goals. I remember not all last season, but this like kind of the second half of last season, the regular season. Anders was not looking his sharpest.
No.
Like to use a phrase that you used was it looked like he was skating with cement in his shoes or something. What was it?
In his skates. Yeah.
Cement in his skates. Yeah. Of course. He's not wearing shoes.
Yeah.
He's wearing skates. And and like I definitely have seen a lot more hustle from him.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that he's not a hustler. Like he definitely has always been like a hardworking player, but it just seems like even more there.
Yeah, I think he's made a concerted effort this year to win a lot more puck battles, and with how big a frame he has, he's already been able to do that by the net, and that's evidenced by I think they put a graphic up of where Anders Lee's goals have come from this year, and they're all within 2 feet of the net, except one from the blue line, and that was an empty netter. So every one of his goals this year has pretty much been in his office. And maybe the Islanders, noticed how big a presence. I mean, you have to have noticed how big a presence he is in front of the net. He's been here. Whoa,
you're really big. You're a big guy.
You're a big guy. We should start using. Yeah. But I think maybe this year they factored it more in, and they were like, let's get pucks to the net a little bit more often. And when we have Anders out there, he can just outmuscle guys. And on his goal, he outmuscled former Islander Kyle Oposo pretty badly. And much like Ristolainen, or not Ristolainen, well, kind of like Ristolainen and also the other Rasmus Dahlin, the Islanders were just out-muscling, and it just seemed like out-willing Buffalo. Buffalo just didn't, in my opinion, just didn't look like a team that cared that much that they were getting smacked around.
Also, to borrow something from what you said about the Islanders last season, that is, I know that's like a very common critique of a lot of hockey teams, but especially the Islanders, right? Like put pucks on net and stuff like that. But last season you were always saying like try and get the tips in front and stuff. Again, probably a common critique, but
I think it's a bit of a cliche.
I think they've been listening to us. Specifically.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
Lou, Barry, come on. Just
where do you think the subs came from? It's only the players.
No. I was thinking more the coaching staff.
That's
the players.
It's a little bit of both.
Players don't have time to watch us.
Yeah, well,
they're too busy. Like Twitch streaming, right?
Yeah. We'll get to that. But the third game is where you give a little bit of credit to Buffalo. I would have expected Buffalo to come out on fire, and they didn't really do that. We played a scoreless first period. I would say Buffalo probably outplayed us by a little bit, although I wasn't. Maybe it's playing against Buffalo, or maybe it's the Islanders in the midst of a big winning streak. But I didn't feel like, even after a first period where it was kind of even and the Islanders had their chances, they had a couple 2-on-1s that they just didn't cash in. And I bet you a lot of people see that first period a lot differently if the Islanders cash in those 2-on-1s. I think sometimes people base their perception of the period based on the score too much. And even though we came out of a period 0-0 with Buffalo, if you just said that, it would sound like, what are they doing? But I thought they played a fine period where they just didn't score on their chances. But against a team like Buffalo, I guess you're not as worried because you're like, there will be more chances. They'll give up more chances. And they did.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It's like, okay, they didn't cash in, but the opportunity will come.
Yeah, I was thinking
you're not worried about never getting one of those opportunities again.
Yeah, and I guess there's something to say that against a better team, you have to cash in.
That makes sense, yeah.
But against Buffalo, I just felt like it was never gonna go the wrong way. The only thing in the back of your mind that tells you, they're gonna lose tonight, is not that they're not playing well, but just how difficult is it to beat the same team 6 times in a row? Like I said, even if you're way better than them, you would expect there to be a night where you take it for granted and they decide they're tired of losing. And that says a lot about Barry Trotz and the preparation that the team goes through to not let any of these games become trap games. Now, there's another bunch of trap games coming up, and we'll talk about that when we get to next week's game.
For sure. I definitely agree with that.
But I'm a lot more confident going into those games now after watching the Islanders really coolly, business-like, just dispatch a team 3 times in a row, a team that they should beat. And to speak more specifically about this game, so we got 3 goals in the second again. We got 4 in the middle game. Sorokin played this game, didn't really have to do much in the first 2 periods. Islanders are up 3-0 going into the third. It's so bad. The guys on NBC are like begging the Buffalo viewers to stick around. There's a lot of conjecture on Twitter from Islanders fans who can't feel safe being good. And they're just like, guys, this is just because we're playing Buffalo. And I saw a lot of lazy takes like that. And I would like to fight back against that because, like I said, beating any team 6 times in a row, I won't beat that dead horse. I kept saying it. You know what I mean when it comes to that. But also, every team in this division will play Buffalo 8 times. And guess what? The Islanders have, like, not everyone's going to sweep Buffalo. Like, Buffalo's going to win games. They're not going to lose the rest of their games. I feel like everybody gets caught up in what's going on right now, and they're like, the Islanders will never lose again, and Buffalo will never win again. That's how it works. They're momentum. But things change, and, I think the Islanders, this third game, because you started to see Buffalo show a little bit of heart, I think being down 3-0, even though they couldn't hear the commentators in the locker room, I think they were just like, guys, we can't get embarrassed in the third. We have to show something. And they got Jeff Skinner, got his first goal of the year. This is a guy who scored 40 goals in a season once, and he hasn't scored in a calendar year. And he finally gets one in like his 19th or 20th game. And that was worrying to me because I was like, okay, that's a thing to rally around. That's one of those things that can actually change momentum for a team's season. Now, I'm not saying that's, Buffalo is going to turn it around and make the playoffs, but it could mean that we got out at the right time against them because even though they lost last night and they blew a big lead, they had a big lead without Jack Eichel in the lineup against Philly. And even though that would have been great for us if they had finished off the job, and I'm very angry at them, it probably shows that Buffalo...
How dare they let us beat them 3 times and then not beat Philly?
Yeah, but maybe it shows that Buffalo, we got out at the right time, and they started to turn a little bit of a corner in that third period. It wasn't enough. They got a second goal only 4 minutes after the Skinner goal, and it made you a little bit nervous. One, because it absolutely... So there's a bad defensive breakdown. All the Islanders got trapped on the wrong side of the ice. And then Colin Miller, a defenseman, pinched back post. And throughout the game, he kept pinching, and he kept getting burnt. But this time, the Islanders were all on one side of the ice. He walks in, and he shoots it, and it's a terrible shot. And it's right at Sorokin, and he missed it. We didn't get great goaltending, actually, in these 2 games. It was fine, but that one absolutely needs to be saved. And the offense really took center stage more so than the goalies, which has been a little bit flip-flop for this year. But after it went up 3-2, and I got a little bit nervous for the first time really all series against Buffalo because now they have things to rally around. Cal Clutterbuck scores on a breakaway, and Brock Nelson gets one. Finally on an empty net. It feels like it's been 8 years since we hit an empty net. And the Islanders see it out 5-2 for the third straight time. And I would describe it as the total of the 3 games. Very calm, cool, collected. A slight worry at the end of the third, in the beginning of the third game, but they fought through it. And the fact that they could win a couple games without the goaltending standing on its head, probably a good sign because you don't want the goaltenders to always have to stand on their head. They might get burnt out. So good stuff. And the fact that they got to start Sorokin twice helps Varley rest a little bit more. And that's good.
Yeah. The one thing I would add is that I've had a few of these thoughts kind of throughout, like just watching some games, but you talking about it makes me realize even more the things that you're complimenting the Islanders on, like the discipline and like kind of conditioning and, and all that stuff. And Anders Lee being good and what was the other thing? I don't know, probably something else. Michael Dal Cole being good, right? Or like like making an impact.
Yeah.
I know you didn't mention that though for this recap, but it's like all things that directly needed to be improved from last season. Obviously, it's hard to say because it was a weird season, so they obviously did great in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But like everything that needed to be improved from the last regular season, it's like they're doing it. Remember how many times we would talk about, I think I might have mentioned this last week too. We would talk about how they would come out in the second or third period up a goal or two, and then they would just play like they won the game. Like they wouldn't like continue the effort. So it's like they've definitely worked out whatever it seems as of right now. It seems like they worked out whatever kind of like issues were causing that, whether it was like just mentality or if it was conditioning, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say which one of those it was, based on the way that they have played this year. Whatever it is, it's been addressed. And I know, like, I don't want to get caught up in just the 6-game winning streak, because
I mean, bro, we basically got the cup.
It's over. We're set. But
over.
this is also I actually had to be reminded of this by going through the schedule just before we started filming. But we lost 5 games in a row in regulation early on in this year, and I think it just it's a reminder that nothing is easy in this league.
Nothing is sacred
except the first 2 games against Buffalo. But this is a weird league where things will change on a dime, and you never know when it's going to come. So you got to enjoy it while it's lasting, the good stuff. But always be prepared. Whether it's injury, whether it's just a bad break and it leads to like confidence being hurt. I think we had some games against Pittsburgh that probably hurt our confidence in the short term, but maybe in the long term made us a better team, because you said we last year had trouble seeing out some games. And this year, I think we had one Pittsburgh game in particular, or 2 that we've blown in the third period. One that we lost in the shootout, in a game where we were up late and we gave up a goal when they pulled the goalie, and then we lost in the shootout. And another one where we were up 2-0. And I think those games hurt a lot at the time, but I think that's part of what's fueling this winning streak is probably being a little bit, they probably noticed, the coaching staff and the players, that they could be reverting a little bit back to last year in that, and they addressed it. And to what you said about, they addressed a lot of the issues in the offseason, in the playoffs even. Like depth scoring is better because JG Pajot over a full season has been, over a 56-game season, has been just fantastic. The second line, it took time because they had to get healthy without Bo. And Bo still feels like he's, the scoring touch isn't quite back yet, but he created some goals this week. The fourth line had a big week. And that might have been playing Buffalo, got them back going. Clutterbuck had 2 goals. Martin had 2 in a game and had an assist on one of the Clutterbuck goals. And generally the fourth line looked really, really good. So they're in a real good groove right now. I feel like this is peak Islander, like what they want out of this team. This is like the apex of that right now. And I think this is a good transition.
So that means that there's nowhere else to go but down. So we're at the top. We're at the top of the division.
In a way, I'm saying this form of play.
I know.
Probably the exact, like, if you're Barry, obviously you don't say this because you're never going to say your job's done. But if you're Barry, you're like, this is almost exactly where I want this team's, to steal a phrase from an old coach, battle level to be at. Where it feels like that was Capuano, who's not remembered well because he wasn't seen as a very strong tactician.
Interesting.
And so he would revert back to some cliches, and one of those was,
that's great.
Got to have a battle level. I think it was from Boston.
Nice.
So I do the traditional accent.
The traditional, Boston accent.
Stereotypical.
So we'll talk about the Boston game. And I personally, I only was able to catch like basically the very end of the game. I wasn't able to watch the whole thing. So not that I was going to say much about it anyway, but Tom, what did you think of the game?
Well, you're in luck.
What
I
is
think that's
that?
an ad. That's an ad on my computer.
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
It
that's an
sounded
ad.
like the static from the Ring movie.
No,
That's my first
it was
thought.
rock music over the highlights of the Islanders.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So for this game, I actually have something in common with you, as for the first time this year, like, and this is kind of mind-boggling. I didn't even think about this. Because of job responsibilities for me, I had to be somewhere at 7 to cover something. And yeah. And I missed the whole first period, and it's the first minute, it's the first seconds of Islanders action I've missed all year, which is kind of crazy.
Well, it looks like I'm looking at the breakdown from NHL.com right now, which is also on the screen for the viewers. So it looks like it was no scoring until 19, like till the very end of the period.
Yeah.
At 19 minutes 32 seconds, David Pastrnak scored.
Yes.
Who has the same amount of goals as Anders Lee?
Yeah. So the good thing for me is that I was able to catch basically all the big highlights of the first period, because Twitter is both an amazing and awful platform at the
An
same
amazing
time.
cesspool. I think that's a good way. Good two adjectives.
Follow us on Twitter at Belmont.
Amazing cesspool.
Yes, but we're a nice wholesome community. This game, the first major thing is that the Islanders played a good first half of the period. We almost scored right off the first shift. Matt Martin got stopped. Yaroslav Halak, who was the goalie in net when we scored 7 goals, who is also a former Islander, he played very well in this game. He stoned a couple guys early on, and Eberle missed an empty net on a 2-on-1. He would redeem himself in a way later on in this game, but that was a big miss at the time. And kind of like coming back to what we said earlier about against Buffalo, I might have not been worried about that miss. I'd be like, all right, get the next one at Jordan. But against Boston, those are farther and fewer between. I think I got the phrase completely wrong. But the gist of it was there.
Few and far between.
Yeah. And the back half of the period, Boston played a lot better. The goal was a weird one. So Islanders take a penalty and not long off the draw. So kind of similar to the Pittsburgh one that you corrected me from the recap that Crosby scored on.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Oh no. What have I done? I just realized that. Either way. But we so the Isles take a penalty, not a good penalty. I think it was Lee, and Pastrnak was able to just throw this one on net from the point, because Varley, for the second time in about a month, just kind of fell around in his crease a little bit. This time, at least, there was a little bit of contact to make it look less drunken ballerina. You know what's annoying is that I think by the time Varley got his footing back, I think he still had time to make the save, and he still didn't make the save.
Do you think he lost the puck, maybe, or like couldn't?
Probably
maybe it was so totally oriented.
I think he was so just lost trying to keep his balance and get his head back in the play that like the puck was probably off the stick already. So we didn't if you don't track it off the stick, then you don't know it's coming, and that's probably what happened.
I mean, it's hard enough to see, but like after it's already shot, you don't know where exactly it came from.
Yeah, because you don't know where you are.
Right.
So that made it 1-0, and that was pretty frustrating because for that to be the only goal of the period when you had a lot of chances, is like, oh, I'm not playing Buffalo anymore. But then in the second period, the Islanders,
we're not in Buffalo anymore.
Yeah.
Even though they played us on Long Island, but whatever. Yeah. Anyway, moving on.
But some good effort in the second period. I thought this game was extremely even, extremely well played by both teams. And I think it only made sense for this game to go to overtime. Brock Nelson gets a power play goal, his 10th goal of the year, 6th on the power play. He's been really good on the power play. This is a tic-tac-toe, beautiful play. And for this, I think we need to talk about the officiating for a sec. So we killed it off in the first period, but there was a penalty in the first period, boarding on Wahlstrom. That was not close to the correct call. And that leads us to this goal, which was set up by Wahlstrom committing a more justifiable boarding call this time. I think the referees were within their rights to call boarding on Wahlstrom on this one. Connor Clifton kind of starts falling as he goes towards the boards, but I think Wahlstrom probably still charging in a little bit too hard, especially with the numbers facing him. So the boarding call, don't have a problem with. Brad Marchand lost it, and he, seeing that as a dirty hit, threw his gloves off and started like punching Wahlstrom. And that, you can't do that. Even if the guy did something that you see as dirty, that is an instigator penalty. Should have gotten 5 for fighting, honestly, if you drop the gloves. So they could have tossed him, Marchand. But it's better for us that they didn't, and I'll get to that. So the Islanders score on the ensuing power play. It wasn't a good first part of the power play. We really struggled to get the puck set up. And then finally, when we did get it set up, Barzal down low to Pajot. One-touch pass back out to Brock in the slot. And he just rips it home. Yarrow really doesn't have a shot. And it's 1-1. We play a third period that I think both teams went for it. Sometimes in the third period of a tie game, I think teams are like,
they
let's
want
get
to
the
secure
point.
the point. Yeah.
And I think both teams went for it. And in overtime, Boston definitely went for it. We went for it too. We were just very unsuccessful because we kept putting ourselves in bad positions. I said in the video, we've struggled in OT this year, but I'm not extremely worried about that because that's not a facet of playoff hockey 3-on-3. And so that style of play is really exclusive to the regular season. And if that's the case, and we're looking good to make the playoffs, not to say that we can't miss, because somebody good in our division will miss the playoffs. There are 5 good teams in the division. The Rangers are okay. And then there's 2 pretty bad teams. So it's not impossible that we miss the playoffs, but assuming we do, I am not worried about 3-on-3 overtime play come playoff time, since it's not a part of playoff hockey. You could probably argue that it's helpful to get the extra point. Absolutely. That's fair. And they do have to improve that's the facet of the game, the overtime stuff.
Which is, you just made me think of this too. Last season, they were actually pretty good at overtime.
Yeah.
And now this season, they're not. So they took all their overtime juice and put it into their 60 minutes juice. And that's why they're better.
I'll take that. Honestly, if that's the trade-off.
Obviously, it's not, but it is weird how that, it could just be coincidence. Like, after enough games, it might even out, but to roughly the same percent. But
And so the team is 16-16-4 now. And sorry, I should talk about the shootout first. So overtime was, like I said, kind of a mess. We had
eventful.
it was eventful. We had a couple of 2-on-1s, one of which, we might have had 3, but we had one where Pajot shot it wide. I have no problem with the shot that he tried to do. He tried to put it far post as the goalie's coming to the near post. That's a great idea. Just couldn't get it done. And the second one that I was thinking of was Beauvillier coming in. I forgot who was on the other end of it. Beauvillier is coming in, and he decides to hold on to it all the way up to the net front, go to the backhand, and try to stuff it that way. This gets stopped. I do think that Boston probably gets away with a penalty here. So you can do a hand pass in your own zone. But to me, it kind of looked like he closed his hand on the puck. I think it was Coyle, but I can't remember exactly which Boston player it was. And so that could have been a 2-minute penalty on Boston. But it didn't, end up costing the Islanders the game. Though Boston had a lot of chances, including a play where Pasternak had 3 Islanders in front of him. And I think they all thought he was just going to take it and leave the zone, but he didn't. He takes a shot. It's stopped by Varley. And he coughs up a rebound, and all 3 Islanders congregate around the rebound, but don't touch the puck because I think they think Varley's going to put his hand over it and stop play. But Varley doesn't. And so my screen died. And so
you mean your professional light? That's what we have stationed for lighting. Yeah. Not a computer screen.
Yes. It gave another chance, and luckily we were able to escape. But that was a bad sequence. Shootout wise, great attempt. So this is where we get back to redemption for Eberle. A great shootout move. Just like in the shootout, I hate seeing a guy try to stick handle and then not even get the puck on net. And Eberle, having missed the net a couple times in the game on chances that I thought he could have buried. I love the attempt. I love the idea of just let's go to the net, let's just rip it and make the goalie make a save. Make sure it's on net. And he perfectly timed it out. I think he waited long enough that Yarrow started to think, oh, he's going to try to deke around me.
Yeah.
And then
but he was still kind of far out when he
Yeah.
shot. So he was far enough out where I guess, yeah, that makes
It
sense.
was that perfect in between. I think that got the goalie. It got the goalie thinking, I'm going to have to do the split. I'm going to have to do a split, or I'm going to have to like track a deke. And then he just like shoveled it on that real quick. Really clever play by Eberle. And then David Pastrnak makes it look ridiculously easy on his shootout attempt. That's not anything against Varley. That's an expert goal scorer just waiting out a goalie. So that was just unbelievable. Like you were just like,
and Varley was so far out of his crease.
Yeah,
which he's been doing that a lot, and it's been working. But like I guess it's just like it's harder to like see that working on a one-on-one. Like it's a one-on-one shootout play where it almost looks like looked like Pastrnak could have like just skated around Varley and just like tapped it right in because he was so far out.
He might have been a little bit overly aggressive.
But I don't know if that's what made. I don't know if that's why Pastrnak got it. I don't think that's why he got it in.
Yeah, I think Pastrnak scored it because he's just a good goal scorer.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's a big part of it. But so the second round was, I think Barzal got stopped. I noticed that Barzal still looked tired from overtime. There's not a lot of time in between overtime and the shootout. I do think he was probably actually tired. He looked a little bit.
Yeah.
So he gets stopped. A good stop by Yarrow, though. It was still a decent shot. And then, Coyle tries to go 5-hole, and Coyle did a good job of like waiting this one out. And Varley just really good reflexes to pull the whole body together, get compact.
That's I think I don't know if this is like me overthinking it. I definitely heard Brendan say this once while announcing the game that it seems like Varley's getting really good at like baiting people with the 5-hole. Like he makes it look like it's like it's like the best option. Yeah. But and then he's able to close that option quicker.
And it's a double-edged sword because like, you could get beat. Like if
I think
if that's Pasta probably scores. But that's also probably Varley is going, this is not a skilled shooter. This is not a skilled a pure goal scorer. I can bait him a little bit more
for like and then what I looks like an easy goal. Yeah.
So a lot of head games on that. This is fun. This is like, I've never broken down a shootout like this, but but then the Islanders go third. Beauvillier. This was an interesting one just to go to Beauvillier because he's struggling to hit the net, and then he just perfect. This is probably before your time of watching hockey, but Franz Nielsen, who's my favorite Islander, was I
don't know how many times I've heard this.
He was a shootout wizard, and one of his best moves was fake on the forehand, go to the backhand. And eventually in his career, it got predictable. So he started, going on his forehand, and the goalie would start to cheat, and he just put it through their legs. So now he has two moves because the first one got so like league renowned that goalies were like, I got to cheat. And then when they started cheating, he beat them the other way. Beauvillier, right out of the Franz Nielsen school of Danish backhands, comes in with decent speed and just a great little slip to the backhand, roof, really slick hands from Bo. That could be really big for his confidence. Just feeling the sensation of scoring a goal, even in the shootout. You put it in, you won the game. Although he didn't win it yet because Brad Marchand had a chance, and this is why I'm happy he was still in the game because we got to embarrass him. He kind of scuffed off the initial drive towards the net. He kind of left the puck behind him. And I think some of the Islanders were screaming because if the puck goes backwards, the referees are supposed to blow it dead and it's a dead play. That's supposed to protect the goalies from the shooter just skating around and like,
right.
Yeah, doing something that would make it impossible for a goalie to make a save. But he continues on. I guess the puck just stopped. It didn't go backwards, so it's good. And it was actually a really good move to wait Varley out and try to slide it under Varley as Varley's adjusting his legs. But Varley is feeling it this year, and he knew to drag the back leg, and he just got enough of it. And then as it's trickling towards the net, he's got plenty of time to pick it up. And he looked pumped. That was a big one for him, especially I think when you give up a goal, the likes of the one he did earlier, the rest of the game, you're like, I got to make up for that. I got to make up for that. And he did. He did a great job. Just a great save. And really, it's fun to watch them get excited because, I mean, of course, we're going to get excited. But to watch them, it could have just felt like another game to them. But I think they really wanted to prove that, they came off of 3 games against Buffalo, and I don't think you're going to get a ton of respect just based off of that, even though I say beating a team 3 times in a row or 6 times in a row on the year now is pretty impressive. I think they needed this one to remind people, hey, we're 4-0 against Boston too. So throw that Buffalo argument out, because the Islanders, the only teams that we've really struggled against are and a lot of this is small sample size.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Pittsburgh's the only one with a sample size where you can go, they've struggled against Pittsburgh. They went to overtime twice with Philly, and they blew 2 games very early in the year against Washington. And now it feels like the Islanders are a different team. So those games will be interesting because those are going to be the games that determine whether or not the Islanders, first off, make the playoffs, or 2, have home ice, are the games against Philly and Washington from here on in. We got 4 more against Boston still, but I think you're almost already at the point in the season where, like my brother and I were saying yesterday, if you told me the Islanders would finish the season 4-4 against Boston, I'd take that. And now you're at a no lose situation with that. You've gotten 4. Obviously, the team is going to.
We could just forfeit those 4 games. The next 4 games with Boston.
Yeah.
Take a break.
Obviously, the team is going to be like, no, we want to go 8-0 against everyone. Obviously.
Of course, yeah.
But as a fan, you see them start 4-0, and you're like, that puts you in a good spot. It puts you in a really good position. And especially with how good they've been at home. They've got, I think, both against Philly and against Washington. I think we still have 4 home games against
let's see. So I got the schedule up right here. So tomorrow or today, when this comes out, March 11th, we're playing the Devils at home at 7, and then so that's Thursday.
I think the Devils 3 times.
Yeah, it's 3 times in a row. So it's the Devils Thursday at home, and then Saturday and Sunday, back to back at the Prudential Center, and then we have the Capitals. Yep. That game, the Capitals are on next Tuesday, so it's a week from 2 days ago when this comes out. So Capitals will be our last game for next week before we do the recap again. And like the Capitals and the Flyers, I don't know what to expect, so I guess so we'll just kind of go, because we're kind of already talking about it, just the upcoming games. I don't know what to expect for the Capitals and Flyers. I have a feeling we'll kind of end up by the end of the season having a pretty close record with both those teams, maybe not quite 50-50, but like plus or minus a game for both of them, or hopefully not worse, because now that's also where we are with Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh has 4 wins against us, and I think we have 2 wins against them. So it's like you said, like if we can go 4-4 like against the tougher teams, like I think that would be okay.
Yeah, especially more. Yeah, because if you're beating up on the bad teams,
right? Exactly.
If you're doing your job against them, and granted, we have a lot of games left with Jersey, and we have a lot of games left with the Rangers as well.
The Rangers, notoriously the worst team in hockey.
Oh, well, though they will have Panarin back.
Okay.
Which sucks for us, but is good in terms of him not being like blackmailed by the Russian government. But I'm looking at the full schedule, and it's a lot of like you play a team twice in a row or 3 times in a row, and that's actually I think good for both teams, because
I guess less travel. I think that's what they're trying to do, right?
Less travel, but also like really get an idea over a 3-game stretch of what you would see from them in the playoffs, and you're going to play one of them in the playoffs as long as you make it. I'm trying to continually not jinx. Because I know teams, good teams have started off seasons really well and they missed the playoffs. So I'm trying to cover myself for that.
Yeah.
But I think the Islanders have done the work to this point to put themselves in a great position. And now what they have to do is, they've afforded themselves some leeway Not a ton because it's a tight division.
I love that mentality. We're like, all right, we can lose a little bit now as we would normally expect. And
well, I think and again, obviously
a long-term fan,
the team is going to be like, no, we're going to win the rest of the games.
Mm-hmm.
But the fans, I think it's more so for the fans not to get carried away positively or negatively. Like, it's good to enjoy them winning, but don't think that like they're absolutely cup bound just because they're on a really good run of play. No, I mean they are, but don't think.
Yeah,
we're allowed to.
Yeah, right.
We have the platform here.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So we can think it like, and
we can't say it. Yeah, don't think it. Don't say it.
They got
bye, man.
Oh, so we can't think it.
Shut up.
So, okay. So then that's the upcoming games.
Yeah.
I just want to ask you one question then. So what do you think will be roughly our record against? Personally, I'm most worried about the Flyers and Capitals because again, we played the least games against them, I think, so far. And the Flyers seem to have been like not doing as great the past week or so. And I don't know what the situation is with Capitals. So just a quick, what do you think is going to happen with that?
Sure. I think, man, this might age badly, but I don't think I mean, it all could.
Yeah.
This whole podcast could.
This could come out the day that the Islanders fall off.
Yes.
But it won't because they won't have.
But what I am worried, what I will say that worries me because it could come back to haunt me is I don't think super highly of the Flyers. I came into the year thinking that they were, I think I had them pick second to finish second behind Boston. But as this season has gone on, I haven't been overly impressed with their defense, Philly. They gave up 4 to Buffalo last night. Their offense made up for it, and they won in the shootout. But they have not been great defensively. Their goaltending has been interesting. Their 37-year-old backup has outplayed their 22-year-old phenom starter. So it'll be interesting to see, first of all, who's going to start against us. But also Philly not being great defensively and the Islanders kind of catching a groove offensively. It could be, and the Islanders playing them 3 times over the course of the 18th, 20th, and the 22nd.
Yep.
I don't know. It might, if the Islanders stay hot against Jersey, the Islanders could come out of those games really with first place in their grasp, like for the season, because we're halfway through. We're past the halfway point.
That's crazy.
It's crazy
game
to think
24?
about.
20 what?
I think last night was 26.
Oh wow, okay,
yeah. So we're really chugging along, and now they do have a lot of games against the teams that are presumed to be playoff teams. But I think, truthfully, the only team in this division that I'm afraid of, in terms of how they like defensively, is Boston is comparable to us defensively, but they've struggled with depth scoring, which is something that we struggled with, but now we're getting better with. And if that continues, which progression is not like a video game, it's not linear. You'll have guys be good one week and be horrible the next. It happens. So I think that the Yankees. I read a notification on my phone that the Yankees are playing.
You also have the Yankee sign behind you.
Oh, well. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Right above the Barzell jersey.
That's a little Easter egg at us eventually touching on baseball content.
Oh,
look out. Oh. Not far off.
Crosstown rivals, maybe?
I heard you shouldn't say the name until we trademark it.
Don't listen to that previous sentence. Anyway.
But as for, I think that we could come out of that Philly series winning 2 out of 3. And if we win 2 out of 3 in that series, I'm pumped. I'm pretty pumped. Yeah. And against Washington, it's funny because I said it last year and it kind of carried through to the beginning of this year, even though it's a small sample size for this year. Last year, it was a normal sample size. But we play wacky games against Boston. We play games that don't make sense for us. Like, we're a defensive team, and somehow we find ourselves in 6-5 games against Washington. I don't know how that works. We had a couple games that blew early in the year to Washington, although one of them was 2-1. That was heartbreaking fashion. Both of the Washington games were heartbreaking. So maybe Laviolette has a little bit of a number on his old team.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
but that's obviously just that's
So it
kind of
was-
that's just like a lazy talking point for me because he
Yeah.
hasn't coached the Islanders in 2 decades.
Well, but like obviously
he knows all
Trotz-
their secrets from 2001,
yeah, yeah, right. But obviously
which is when
Trotz
these
has,
jerseys were basically. I mean, sorry,
but,
continue.
yeah. But that's Trotz could be thinking he could be trying to play like eighth dimensional chess or whatever against and
Let them win the
overthinking
first 2, win the
Yeah.
next 6.
Yeah. Of course. I was thinking more like he might be creating these interesting matchups intentionally or unintentionally. I don't know, just because he knows the players on the Caps so well, I would think. But yeah, so the first game we played against them was at the end of January.
Yeah.
The first 2 games. So it was 3-2 that we lost the first game, and then 6-3 that we lost the second game.
Yeah, and that was the game we were up 3-0.
Oh my God, that's right. Yeah.
So
let's not talk about it.
Like I said, we play some weird games against the Caps, so I don't even want to venture to guess what those games will be like. I did want to point out, though, that since I'm on the ESPN site and looking at the schedule, since people are allowed back in some arenas, I wanted to point out that there's a listing, there's an ad on my ESPN page. Sunday, April 11th versus the Rangers. This is home. Tickets as low as $764. Oh, are they that low?
Wow.
I know it's short
764?
supply. I understand supply and demand somewhat, although it was the only 2 questions I got wrong on my history test in, I think it was 10th grade on our finals.
The fact that you remember that is a testimony to how good your memory is for history.
And it probably a testimony to how bad my economic ideas are. So I got a 99 and the only 2 questions I got wrong were supply and demand questions. And I was like, that's not history.
Yeah.
I got 100 on the history part. I got 0 on the economics part.
Yeah.
So stonks. I feel like that's going to be like saying lit in a few years. So this is going to age really bad. Someone's going to be like, that's so cringe. He said stonks. That's going to age badly. Mark my words.
I don't think it'll be that. I don't think it'll just be like a dead meme.
It's going to be like lit.
I don't think it'll be like lit.
I think I don't know.
Because you don't say like, oh, that was so stonks. Like you say, oh, that was so lit.
Yeah, but if anybody mentions money, you go, oh, stonks.
I don't know.
Maybe that's just me and my pea brain.
This is why you're bad at economics.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yes.
Anyway. So yes. So we'll be at the Rangers game. See us there.
$1,400, $1,500 later.
Yep. Just to root against the Rangers. And so
if we lose, I'll demand my money back.
So wait, that was at the Garden, you said?
No, that's here. That
was at the Coliseum. Yeah. Oh, that's 700.
Yeah, that's terrifying because
if it was a Garden, I'd be like, I can kind of understand it.
Let's see. At the Garden, they list ticket price as low as $396, which is obviously a lot lower.
Yeah,
because that's how numbers work. But I bet you it'll fluctuate based on if the Rangers are in it at that point.
Oh, okay, yeah. But anyway, so that's the games coming up. We spent, you guessed it, more time than we wanted to.
So we got to make up for it by doing a very quick hot and not.
Yeah. So let's talk about who is hot and who is not hockey wise. Jeez, let's keep it PG. And yeah, so I'm gonna go first if you don't mind.
Yes, go ahead.
I have somebody who I think is heating up. It's not Brock Nelson. I was gonna say Brock Nelson.
It's
because
not
I've been
beating
up. I've been saying he's been my he's been my cold player for like 2 weeks in a row. I'm gonna say Beauvillier.
Okay.
Because I know he hasn't produced too much. He has 2 goals total.
He had a couple of assists.
Yes, and he had the awesome shootout goal. But I think it's kind of hard for me to say with any measure of confidence, obviously. But I think he tends to be a little bit of a streakier player.
Yeah,
like he's always putting in good work on the forecheck and backcheck and stuff like that. But like this past week, I thought he was like hustling way like he was and like that's was it his first goal or second? I don't remember which goal it was of the season last week when he like stick lifted one of the I can't remember who we were playing
against the
like
Bruins,
that was all hustle. Yeah, you know what I mean? And he was alone in the offensive zone, like just so.
And that was the game winner.
Yeah. So so he's definitely my hot player.
All right. I think that's, first of all, I want to say that's a great pick because your analysis was fantastic. And the stick lifting thing reminded me of, I just wanted to point out that generally the Islanders have done a great job on the back check. Oliver Wahlstrom broke up a 3-on-1 in the Boston game. And in the post game, he got kind words from Barry, which is, kind of a big deal for a 20-year-old to get. I've been emailing Barry since I was 20.
We both thought of the same joke.
But my hot player of the week, I'm going to go with I was going to go with the whole fourth line. I'm going to be a little bit more cutthroat. And I'm going to give it to Matt Martin. You know what? I'll give it to Cal Clutterbuck. Why? Because I think Matt Martin has the potential to get it in another week. And I don't know if Cal Clutterbuck does. I want to give him his due while he's hot. He had not just 2 goals, but 2 fairly important goals. He had the goal that put us up by 2 in the first game that he scored in, which was, I think, the second Buffalo game. And he had the breakaway backhanded goal to put the third game, out of reach. And that was a big goal because it actually felt like Buffalo might tie it. And then he takes advantage of a Buffalo player falling. And that's a big goal. And, Matt Martin, I'll give like the junior hot award, which is, he had a 2-goal game, which is rare for him. And he just played really well. And the whole fourth line is rolling.
Yeah. All right. So then for my not player, I'm going to actually steal yours from last week. I'm going to say Mayfield.
Okay.
Nothing like he was, I think he was doing okay, but he keeps, I don't know what the heck is up with him, but he keeps on fanning on clearings.
Yes.
I don't understand that. Like, it's almost like, I don't know if it's really just a coincidence and maybe we're just noticing it more, or it's just having more of a negative effect, but like, it's like the weirdest thing, and that's really it. What penalty again? I don't even remember.
He took, actually, I think it was, he took a really lazy penalty in one of the Buffalo games where he hooked a guy in the offensive zone.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but I mean, that sounds like kind of something he would do. But again, like, I think
it's funny because I think he's a good player, and I feel like I've only said bad things about him on the channel.
I feel like that's the stigma though, being a defenseman. It's like, you're only gonna be talked about more when you mess up rather than when you're just doing a really good. That's like the Adam Pelech kind of thing where he's like really good, but because
that's why he's a 78 in NHL, because nobody at EA understands good defense.
Yeah,
if it bit them on the face.
Nobody at EA is from Long Island.
That's because they're all Leafs fans. I don't know what defense is.
Wait, are they a Canadian company?
Yeah. Well, no, I think the development studio is actually in Vancouver. Okay. I'm completely off. I just wanted to target a fan base. Now,
again, Tom, for like the second time this year, this is the Islanders discussion show.
No, it was the Buffalo discussion show.
Not today. Beat up on the Leafs show.
Beat up on Buffalo, and that's close to Canada, so I'll take it.
So who is your not player?
Oh man, if I'm gonna, I guess if I'm gonna be like really, really harsh, like I'm forcing myself to pick a player. That was the worst player of the week. Man, even that, I guess if you're going to say worst player of the week, I guess Bailey. I'll go with Bailey. Bailey was kind of invisible.
That's okay. Which isn't terrible.
Yeah.
It just stinks.
That line this week was carried a lot more so by Bo and Nelson.
What did you think of Komarov? Because he played a few.
That was interesting.
I don't know how many minutes he played, but I don't know if it was a normal amount of minutes, but yeah.
He took Dow Cole's place in the Boston game. And that was interesting because it's felt like we've kind of, the beginning of the year, you kind of have to plug in players and see what works. And it felt like we've started to be like, all right, so that third line is Pajot, Dow Cole, Wahlstrom. You've got Pajot and Wahlstrom the score, and Dow Cole kind of offers no, I'm kidding. He offers good forechecking and has been, even though he still does he adds nothing in terms of actual scoring. He did have a forecheck that helped lead to a goal. He didn't show up on the score sheet, but I'll give him credit for that. But playing Komarov in that game was more so, he has a history, Komarov, of bad blood with Marchand, and he wanted to get Marchand under his skin, and it worked to an extent.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I think Dow Cole will probably slot back in against Jersey.
Okay.
Although I do want to say that it was kind of Oh, get ready for real levels of condescension here. Like I kind of felt like the parent watching the parents that are the parents on a really good team, right? And their kids are on like the best team in the league, and they're playing against the worst team in Buffalo. And the
Yeah.
worst guy, the worst kid on the best team, you're like, he's got to score against these guys, right? If he's ever going to score, it's going to be against these guys, and he still didn't. So I kind of feel like if Dal Cole can't score on Buffalo, he's never going to score again.
I think he will. Time
I
will
have
come.
witnessed him score twice in person. I have
I know.
also witnessed Brian Strait score a playoff goal. I have seen some wacky goals. So
I know.
Maybe I got to start going to the games.
You got to start going to the games. Yeah. Come on. $764 and Dal Cole can score again. I mean, it seems like a win.
I'll pay them double if he scores.
yeah.
Clip that.
So yeah. All right. I think that's a reasonable thing though. Bailey, yeah, kind of invisible. I think he'll heat up. I think he'll be a little up and down, I think.
Sure. And I was like kind of really pushing myself
to
pick somebody.
I feel the same way about saying with Mayfield too,
Yeah. And Mayfield, I actually did think improved this week from last week, but I think what you said probably stands. A couple of failed clearances and a bad penalty, but yeah.
Yeah. How dare you, Mayfield, Scott? So I think that's it. And then we're gonna do our famous world-renowned around the league in 60 seconds. Everybody loves it. Everybody. Please,
everybody,
let us know how much you love it.
Everybody love it.
Yeah, love it. So, anyway, okay. So, are you prepared?
Yes. No, not at all.
There might be a new prize this week.
Okay,
but there also might not.
All right. Well, you know what I'm going to do this time? Every week, I feel like I do a different way of going through all 30 teams. This week, I've got ESPN's power rankings.
Okay.
And
I was reading that this morning.
All right. I've only seen where the Islanders are, and I think I'm going to react to the rest of them in 60 seconds. I'm probably not going to make it.
So what are you going to try and do? Like say the team name, like say all the team names, and then just give like a short blurb or word or two?
Yeah, I'm going to try to do that.
Okay. All right. 60 seconds, bro.
Yeah. Tell me when
less
you're ready.
than 2 seconds per team.
Yeah, there's no way I'm making it.
I think this is all right. This is the right way this time, so I didn't mess it up.
We're gonna have to start turning this.
I started.
No.
Hey, I'll reset.
We're gonna have to start. We're gonna have to turn this into around the league in 60 hours, so I have time to talk about it.
All right, ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1. Boop.
Tampa Bay Lightning. They look fine. They're at number 1. That makes sense. Vegas has been fantastic. They got shut out by Minnesota the other day, but they still look good. Toronto has been very good, but they're showing signs of weaknesses recently. Carolina's a really, really good team, and they should go far in the playoffs. Florida Panthers, I'm starting to believe against my will. New York Islanders are the best team in the league. Washington Capitals, I want to see them be better defensively, just not against us. Boston Bruins, got to get depth scoring going outside of Nick Ritchie. St. Louis Blues, I'm nowhere close. St. Louis Blues, not that great. I actually think they should look out about missing the playoffs. Winnipeg Jets, pretty decent team, maybe the second best team in the division. Minnesota Wild, I'm starting to believe Capo Kakinen's awesome. Colorado Avalanche, get healthy. Pittsburgh Penguins, they're decent. They might make it over Philly. Philly, be better defensively. Chicago, you're good. Edmonton, I'm halfway.
Keep on going.
Edmonton Oilers,
you gotta finish.
They're too streaky. Edmonton for me come playoff time, and I don't like their goaltending. We're gonna keep going.
Keep on
Montreal
going.
Canadiens, it's starting to get Carey Price is starting to come around. Things are going better. LA Kings, good. I'm really happy that they're doing as well as they are. It's very impressive. I don't know if they'll probably be one of the best teams to miss the playoffs. Arizona Coyotes, they're fine, but without Darcy Kemper, I think they're screwed. New York Rangers, just not good enough this year. Tough division. Move on to next year. Columbus Blue Jackets, please start defending. Calgary Flames, blow it up. I'm tired of it. Dallas, it might be a lost season. It's not really your fault. But still start winning games. Vancouver Canucks, I don't even know what to say. Nashville Predators, blow it up. San Jose Sharks, blow it up. New Jersey Devils, blow up some of it. Lose all 3 games to the Islanders. I'm not going to make the 2-minute mark either because I joked around too much.
Come on, hurry up.
Anaheim, start scoring, but also don't worry about being good this year. It doesn't matter. Ottawa, things are coming along, and you've had some nice wins here and there. Detroit, Good luck in the draft lottery, and the Buffalo Sabres. That's what I have to say.
Stop. That was a disgraceful attempt. Okay. I liked the analysis.
Yeah.
But it needed to be more than twice as fast. I loved how after you passed 60 seconds, you just started slowing down. You're like,
yeah.
So,
it's over.
So you did not win this week.
I didn't. I'm 2-1.
I liked the analysis.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you the prize that you would have won.
Oh boy.
Okay. It might be in the running again.
If they did this on game shows, it'd be hilarious.
It is not.
Here's what you would have won.
Ladd,
you piece of crap.
Bobblehead, which I still have because I have 3 of them.
Yes.
It is these Andrew Ladd themed gloves after his team, the New York Islanders.
Oh.
So it is these Islanders gloves. They would have been yours. They're very warm.
Yeah.
They would have been yours. You could have gone to the game with these gloves on. Everybody thought you were the man.
Man, it's a real shame I already have those.
Do you actually? Do you have anything that I don't have?
No.
No, wait, other way around. Do I have anything that you don't have? Do you have this jersey?
Actually, no, I don't have the jersey.
Bam.
Well, there you go.
Boom. All right, I am a better fan.
We got to finish off with the thing I wanted to surprise you with.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
This is already like way over an hour.
Yeah. It's come to my attention that the Islanders have a streamer. They have a Twitch streamer on the team. And I think you wanted to take a guess at who
I wanted to take a guess.
But yes. I really don't think you're going to get it.
Austin Czarnik.
How the hell did you get that?
Wait, really?
Yeah, it's Austin Czarnik.
Because you said I wasn't going to guess. And I was like, who are those 2 players that played in the beginning of the season that I can't remember the name of?
Oh, my God. Czarnik. Well done. We have our Belmont Bunch Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
Just so everyone knows.
We're live right now on Belmont Bunch or twitch.tv/Belmont Bunch.
I can't find. All right.
We're never live.
So I think it's Zarni is his I followed him.
He's 28. So he's hip.
He's got like a year.
He's not
He's not what?
Well, he's not like, like a Fortnite or something like that player, you know what I mean?
No, he plays only COD. Okay, so his name on Twitch is Zarni with 2 Z's, a capital Z and a lowercase z, Zarni. Last night, he was playing with Kiefer Bellows, who's on our taxi squad as well.
What?
And Oliver Wahlstrom. They were playing COD Warzone. It came to my attention via a group chat. And followed them on Twitch. We actually have a Twitch channel, and I actually might start
wait, so you said it's CZARN capital Y -21?
Oh, no. The account is Zarni. It's just capital Z, lowercase z, ARNY.
Wait, capital Z, lowercase z, ARNY.
Here's what it looks like. It's got the computer.
Oh, I got it. Yeah. Okay.
But
cool.
Yeah, it was fun. He was answering some questions.
That's cool.
He was listing followers, so I got to hear Austin Czarnik say, "Hey, Belmont Bunch, thanks." That was pretty cool.
He said that? Oh my God, bro, we made it.
He said it to everyone.
We made it. We should just start like infiltrating his chat and being like, "Hey, what do you think about Belmont Bunch?" Or just send the links. I don't think you could send links in Twitch chat.
Yeah, I think I'll get banned, but
yeah, but it would be worth it.
Yeah.
Wait, so he was playing with Bellows?
Yeah, he was playing with Bellows and Wahlstrom.
So cool. And Wahlstrom, that's really cool.
It was really funny. Basically, everybody in the chat was just because part of hockey culture is basically making fun of each other, and everybody was just chirping Wahlstrom. They were saying, "Wahlstrom, you watch Bellows' highlights before every game to get hyped." Somebody said about Bellows, and I thought this one was actually a little bit too far because, like, you want to try to keep it surface level. And one of them was like, Bellows thinks the taxi squad is a personality trait. I was like, all right,
oh my God,
let's be careful because, like, he got blasted by Trotz, and I feel like that was enough. Like, I don't need to, pile on the guy.
Yeah.
Because I've never heard Barry Trotz go off on an Islander like that. He might have done that in the past with other teams, but so I feel like we've gone a little bit over time, and so that it's probably time to end the video.
Time to end the video.
So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching.
You're welcome.
This one broke down real quick, but I think I do legitimately think we had some of our best analysis of the season so far. We're starting to get a better handle of this year's team, and keep coming back for more and might even actually try to get the Twitch back up and going. Although I have a job, and that makes it somewhat difficult.
Yeah, we're like adults.